Okay, it's on.
That's Lieutenant Ed Foster with the State Police assigned to the Middlesex District Attorney's Office. We're at the Framingham Police Station. It's Thursday, January 6, 2011. It's approximately 10 to 2. With me in the interview is Deputy Chief Kenneth Ferguson, Framingham Police Department, Officer Dave Carlo, Union President, Framingham Police Department, Attorney Alan McDonald, Counsel for the Union, also Attorney James W. Simpson, Attorney for Detective Gutwill, fair to say?
Yes.
Okay. We're investigating an incident, shooting incident, homicide of Yuri Stamps that occurred at 26 Fountain Street on January 5th in the early morning hours, 2011, approximately 12:30. We're interviewing Detective Matthew Gutwill, and Detective, I understand that you were part of the investigation on an ongoing investigation that took part at 26 Fountain Street, and you're not a member of the SWAT team, but you were involved in the investigation that night. So if you don't mind just taking us through that, the night of the 4th, maybe, briefly about what was going on at Fountain Street through your investigation. Doesn't have to be in depth, and what led to securing a warrant, and et cetera, and maybe why the SWAT team was used.
I was called in earlier that day, being advised that there's a possibility they'd be doing a search warrant at 26 Fountain Street. I was not part of the investigation leading up to this.
All right.
I have no knowledge of what was in the search warrant. I have not read the search warrant. All I did is I arrived approximately 7 o'clock, and assisted on these observations after a buy was conducted. I maintained with another officer, another detective, observations of the house.
Okay, so what time was that you got there?
I think I got there either 7, maybe 7:30, 8 o'clock, somewhere around there.
And you. Oh, we don't. You're gonna have to sign that. I'm sorry. So you got there about 7 o'clock.
Somewhere between 7 and 8. I actually got on scene.
And you were you with anybody?
I was by myself in my undercover vehicle, and Jeff DeRosa was in his undercover vehicle. It was a chilly night, so we were swapping positions.
So you guys were conducting surveillance of the house until the SWAT team.
Why don't you give me one of the sheets of the overall? Maybe you could just point out where he was stationed.
I wasn't in a single spot. We were both moving.
Okay, fair enough.
I'll show you where.
But you were in the general area?
Yeah. So there was a maintained position. This was the maintained position by us. So this is where we'd flip-flop our spots. And this is the Columbus Club. This is the parking spot.
Which street is that on, Manny?
This is Fountain Street.
You're on Fountain Street itself.
This is Waverly. We're in Fountain.
Okay. And just put like an X in your name, whatever that you're back and forth, or just so I know who it is on the sheet. Yeah.
And Jeff, both of us were
DeRosa.
in that spot. Yeah,
okay, back.
DeRosa.
All right.
We both flip-flopping because it gave us good visual of here.
Okay.
When we're not there, I sometimes be backed into Silton Glass, maintaining surveillance up the road the best I can.
Yeah.
And we're also watching this parking lot here because I observed on one occasion an individual leave here, go down here, meet up with a vehicle, and come back, consistent with...
That night or a different time? That night.
I had no other surveillance there. Any other night, the only time I did surveillance.
That was it. Okay.
That night.
All right.
So I observed a deal go down in that parking lot. I observed it come back up. I observed a car show up one time, a guy run out, do another deal, consistent with the deal, quick meet, in and out. Person went back in the house, car continued on.
So during your surveillance, you observed activity consistent with drug sales while you were conducting the surveillance?
Absolutely, yes. In my short period in that period there, yes, absolutely. So I flip-flopped there. I stayed there. We each stayed there in individual cars till we got the word that the SWAT team was about 10 minutes out. Then we doubled down our vehicles over here, and we maintained surveillance on foot. We brought it closer. We went up onto the steps. There's a big bush. We were able to stand behind a bush and maintain surveillance to the front door, but out on foot.
All right. Maybe I wasn't clear enough. So when that assignment that night, you knew that they were going to do a warrant there then?
Correct.
Okay. All right.
I was aware, that's the only reason I came in. I was
Okay.
supposed to be somewhere else at 1 o'clock in the morning with my other team, but I stayed with them until entry was made, and then my intent was to leave.
Okay, all right, so you stay there, what happens next then? You know, we're getting into the night, you know, which,
I watched a couple of transactions
Yeah.
on my own happen. Jeff DeRosa observed a transaction or two on his own.
yeah,
I think we had a total of 5 transactions we observed
really?
that night.
Oh, all right,
Just prior to the team arriving, a gray motor vehicle arrived, 2 males in the car. A deal went down. I left and followed the vehicle, got the plate, followed the vehicle and veered off, and that was probably 15 minutes before the SWAT team arrived.
okay,
I went back to Silted Glass, sat there, moved over to here, back to the parking lot next to where Jeff's car was. We both exited on foot. I cleared a radio check with the command post. Just prior to the command post, the command post was took over the air on 16A.
yeah,
I did a radio check with command post, and then we continued on with ground surveillance.
okay. And where were you at the same spot over there?
We were out of the car on
Yeah.
a set of steps here that gave us
Okay.
the view of
Okay.
the door here.
Okay, all right, so good, what happens next?
Approximately, we hear the team is in motion. Moments later, we see 3 individuals come out.
Okay,
I give notification I have 3 individuals out on foot. We identified 2 of them to be 2 females that we saw about an hour earlier walk up the street
okay,
and entered the house.
all right,
And we identified the 3rd one to be one of the suspects. I didn't know the suspect, but I was told he was one of the suspects
Okay.
that they observed do deals before. They continued to walk. When they got about here, just by the corner of the Gulf Station, I advised.
why don't you pull where you saw, if you don't mind?
I observed them come out. We observed them
Yeah.
come out here.
Yeah, and where they ended up,
They continued walking
Yeah.
all the way down
yeah,
to right here.
just put 3, you know,
There's three people.
yeah,
3 people there.
yeah,
When they got about here, I advised the SWAT team. I advised the command center because I was on the radio from the time they left. That the 3 people were out. That they should abort. Stop. They're going to be compromised coming down.
so what's the exact, is that the exact way you said it, or
I
is
said
there?
you have 3 people on foot.
Yeah,
I said you have 3 people on foot. They're heading down. I said I can't remember exactly. I called in a stand down.
okay,
Stand down.
Yeah.
I said I
Yeah.
believe you should stand down.
yeah,
And then when they got about here by this sign, I said they should abort because I said they're going to be compromised. I said you're going to be compromised coming up Waverly
Yeah.
Street. And then I called it the 3rd time, but they were right here. They were already there.
yeah,
I saw the kid with the red sweatpants. I can't remember the Buford or something with the red sweatpants. He was just staring at the trucks, like getting ready to make a move back
Okay.
toward the house.
yeah,
I came out from over there, encountered Buford Preferred here.
I think it's
put him-
Bushman.
Bushman?
Bush van.
I'm sorry, Bush van.
Yeah, that's right, just to help you.
I encountered
Yeah.
Bush van here, took him to the ground. As I was taking him to the ground, he yelled to one of the girls to go get my mother. I believe Deputy Davis or Chris Murtaugh was already out. They pulled out of the vehicle.
Yeah.
SWAT team continued on. They held him down. I grabbed the female as she started to run back to the house. I put her up against the car.
Yeah,
And then a patrolman came and we kept him detained.
yeah,
I didn't cuff him, I didn't search him. I then left there and I went to the house
all
where I
right,
was
we'll give you
supposed to
another,
go.
we'll give you another thing. Do me a favor, man,
Yep.
just sign your
Yeah.
date, your name and date and time there, whatever, at least the date.
So Matt, but you had been told by somebody that Bush van was a target, that you observed 3 people, the 2 girls, and that Bush van, and
DeRosa said he's one of our guys.
One of the suspects.
One of the suspects today, the 6th.
yeah.
Yes.
You good?
Yeah, that's good, I'll fix
That's,
it up.
in case that you want me to mark, this is where we encountered him.
Yeah, yeah, do that, you know, all that, and if there were other people there, write their names in too, so.
Encounter, I believe, Davis, Slats, Murtaugh, an unknown PD officer. right here. Let me count them. And DeRosa at first. Okay.
All right, you through with this one.
Yep.
I'm just gonna write your name on the back, because I'm never gonna remember that signature, man. Yeah. Thanks.
I then I ran up the street. As they were making entry, I ran to the back corner. I took the back right-hand corner.
Over
of
here?
the house, yeah.
Okay. Just put yourself up there and then arrow down. Is it just you?
Myself was there. I believe Martinez ran over there at first.
All right.
And DeRosa was over there.
Oh, in the back corner?
Yeah.
Okay. And you got there just as they were making entry?
As they're making entry.
Okay.
I was at the back. I heard the door pop. Seconds later, I heard what sounded like a flashbang, and then I heard a third pop, which sounded like a gunshot. I then made my way to the right corner, and I was yelled to someone. Someone yelled shots. Someone advised shots fired. I put the call on, I believe, Channel 1, shots fired.
Okay.
I then was instructed, one of the members at the door instructed me to take the female that was laying on the ground.
Who
cuff her
instructed
up.
you?
One of the SWAT team members.
Told you to take the female on the
Take me
ground?
the female that was on the ground,
Yeah.
to cuff her.
Okay.
I grabbed a set of cuffs and then dragged
Where
her.
was she on the ground, if you
She
can
was
remember?
right here. This is the mother. She was right here. I picked her up, put her against the hood of a car that was there,
Yeah.
cuffed her,
Yeah.
and then her and I walked over to, back over to where we encountered
The others.
Bushman.
Okay,
and
back
two
over to
girls.
the Gulf,
Right.
was it Gulf Station
And,
area?
yeah, and I stayed with her up against the car while
All right.
everything else was going on.
All right, date and time, that one too,
Yep.
whatever, your name. Would- Oh, so you walked her up there?
Right,
Matt?
back to that-
Were
back
you
to-
with anybody when you walked her up?
No, I was by myself until
Okay.
we encountered Slattery, Davis,
All right,
and everybody else.
all right, what'd you do after that?
I had her up against the, is there a photo again? Right photo, show you the photo again.
The one I already gave you?
Yeah.
Yeah, this one here? All right.
Yeah, we brought her back to, right here, there was another car that was stuck out, so her son and the two girls were right here, and she was standing over here, and I was
All right,
just
so
standing
why don't you
right
put
talking.
an arrow, wherever it was, and put
Yep.
suspect from the front of the house, the black female from the front, so I'll know who it is at some point.
Suspect, I'm just gonna do female.
Yep. All right.
That's where she was. She was there for a bit, and then she was uncuffed. Once
Yeah.
we got her over there, we uncuffed her, and Chris Murtaugh uncuffed her. And after a while, I believe she was placed in a car because it was cold.
Okay. What'd you do from there? I don't remember.
I went back to the scene.
Yep.
I got a car for Sergeant Stewart. I got Jeff DeRosa's car for Sergeant Stewart. Sergeant Stewart put Sergeant Stewart, Chris Elati, and Paul Duncan got in that vehicle and took off.
What vehicle was it?
It was the small, I think it's not the Camry. It's I believe it's an.
You
Acura.
brought that car back there?
I brought that car from there up to them for them
Okay.
to transport him out.
Okay. Okay.
Vinnie Stewart drove the car and took him out.
Yeah.
I then
Before you did you have any conversation before they left?
I had no conversation
Okay.
with anybody.
All right. Okay.
Other than Slattery.
Okay.
Slattery then instructed me to go back to the booking desk and process the two suspects for the distribution.
Okay. Did you ever go, other than, did you
actually-
ever go in there at all?
Actually, yes. Prior to going back there, I did step in the house.
Prior
prior
to
to-
bringing the woman back?
No, prior to
After you dropped the car off?
after I dropped the car off,
Yeah.
I was there for a few minutes. I did
you go in the house?
I did go in the house.
Yeah.
Took 2 steps into this room here.
Yeah, the right, yeah.
There was some question on whether this kid was going to be charged. There was some drugs that was just sitting in plain view in a sock and
Yeah.
a bag.
Yeah.
And Slot said, yeah, he could go. We took him into custody, and when he went into custody, I went back to
Okay,
the
now,
station.
all right. Okay. All right. Anything,
Just when you went over the radio and asked to stand down then aboard, it was because you thought that they were going to get compromised because of the 3 people that had walked out and were walking towards the corner of Fountain and Waverly.
Yeah.
No, they could have called, right? Is that, you know, they could have called the house.
So
that on.
it was a situation where the SWAT team was warranted to be there.
Yeah.
You have a suspect out of the house, and for us, once he's out of the house and there's potential for him to make a phone call,
Yeah.
or potential for him to alert to the SWAT team, it's dangerous. And once he was here, he had clear view of that whole team coming up the road.
Right.
So even if they did stand down at the time, they still probably would have been seen
Right.
here if they pulled over. They could have kept on going, but my intention was just as a safety for the team. It was right to stand down.
Yep.
That was it.
Anything, Wayne, Nash, anything you want to add?
Nothing.
Okay.
Nope.
All right, it's about 2:05, and that'll conclude the interview of Detective Gutwill.
All right. Thank you very much.